usually I don't get rid of books, but seeing as I'm going to be moving back into the dorm, this time I'm going to be taking a lot more books with me to the dorm, and I have a different shelf, and I'm super excited for y'all to see the new layout as soon as I have it all set up. I've thought about it and I'm like, maybe I should downsize on some of my books. I do have a list of a couple of books here that I have read and that I thought were just alright, and I don't really need to keep on my shelves because it wasn't like life-changing and I don't think I'll ever read it again. Some of my books are going to my good friend Lexi, who you've seen in many of my videos, because she has a small book collection and she wants to grow her collection. So I let her look through them and she picked some of them that she will be taking. And so as soon as I finish this video, I'm going to give them to her and she's going to take them to her house. Other books that I have, I either donate to my high school library or I'll just give to Goodwill. But let's just get started. So the first book I have here is Driver's Ed by Caroline B. Cooney. This is a book that I read in middle school, and honestly I don't remember a whole lot about it. I just know that it was decent, but it wasn't like amazing or anything. And I know that I probably won't reread it, so I'm just like, time for it to go to a new home. The next book I have is also by Caroline B. Cooney, and that is Code Orange. This book I also read middle school-ish around that time, and it's about a boy who finds an old book that has like these scabs from like, I think it's the measles. It's like some like obscure disease, and then he thinks that he like contracted it from the like scabs, and it's kind of gross. But it was pretty decent, but I don't think I'll be rereading it. It's gonna be a short video. The next book we have here is Prom by Laurie Halse Anderson. This is a book that I read recently in a reading vlog, which I will link up above for you to check out. It's a book about this girl named Ashley who goes to this high school and they're getting ready for prom to happen, and then they find out that one of their teachers, who was like head of the prom committee, ran away with all of the prom money. And so they have to like, within a week, plan a whole new prom and pay for it, and like super low budget, and like get it set up and ready to go, and it's kind of like hectic for a little bit there. This is another one of those books that I thought was really, like, it was a alright book. I actually think I gave it 4 stars, but like in hindsight I think it was just like decent, maybe 3.5 stars, I don't know. But I know that I probably won't reread it. I bought it because it's Laurie Halse Anderson. She's the author of one of my favorite books, and so I'm like, I'll probably like it, but I mean, I liked it, it just wasn't like amazing or anything, so I just don't feel the need to keep it on my shelves. The next book I have here, I actually have 2 copies of, and I bought the second copy because I knew that my library at high school didn't have a copy of it, and it was like super cheap, so I bought it and I'm like, I'm just gonna give it to high school. And I never got around to doing it. I've had it for like a year. But so with this unhaul, I'm going to be taking it to my old high school. But that book is Just Listen by Sarah Dessen. This is actually one of my favorite Sarah Dessen books, and like I said, I do have another copy. I think it's right behind me somewhere. Yeah, right there. But this is about a girl named Annabelle who is sort of going through, like, I don't want to say a midlife crisis because it's not a midlife crisis, but just like a high school crisis, I guess, like in her identity. And she ends up meeting a new friend who is really into music, but like really obscure music, and he like gives her all these playlists of like Native American, like, water tribe sounds, like, just really, like, crazy, like, different types of music. I bought it because I knew that my high school library didn't have a copy of it, and I wanted them to have a copy of it. So that's where it's going, because I really don't need to have 2 copies. Next I have Beastly by Alex Flynn. I bought this book because I'd seen the movie, and I really liked the movie, so I was like, I want to read the book. But I'm not really a huge fan of retellings, so I thought the book was, like, alright. I didn't love it by any means. I love the movie more, honestly, which, like, blasphemy, I know. But I'm just not a fan of retellings, so I don't think that I'll ever reread it. I don't really care to read any more of Alex Flynn's work either. I don't know, just not a huge fan of them. The next book I have is Choke by Diana Lopez. As you can see, this book is in pretty bad shape. I don't know if my library is going to want it. This is a very poorly taken care of book. This was not done by me, I swear. I freaking lent it to somebody and it came back like this and I was so mad about it. But this is a book that my friend bought when we were like freshmen or something. I don't really remember. But she bought it because she knew it was about the choking game, and she knew I'm like kind of interested in that like weird side of things. I don't even know how to describe what. So this is a book about the choking game, and I honestly don't remember a whole lot. I think I think the characters are in like middle school or something. It was a pretty, oh my gosh, the freaking front page is torn out. Who did I lend this to? Oh my gosh, I hate them now. Who the heck, who does that to somebody's book? I want to know. But I think it was like a middle grade book. The characters were pretty young and honestly not very well developed, I thought, and just in general it was just an average book. But I kept it because all this time I kind of like in my mind grouped it with like my eating disorder books. But like it really has something to do with eating disorders. I don't know why I thought that it fit there because it doesn't. I don't know. It's time for me to get rid of it because I know I'm never going to read it again and it's in awful condition. And I kind of hate that. Next I have Looking for Alaska by John Green. This is another book that I have a second copy of because I do have a copy right there that's a lot prettier in my opinion. I like that edition better than this edition. But I owned this edition because I found it at like Goodwill or something and I was like, oh yes, John Green. So I like had this edition and then I went book shopping and I found this copy like with a better cover or whatever and I bought that copy because I liked it better. I have 2 copies and I don't need 2 copies so it is going, actually I think this one is going to Lexi. All the rest of these books are going to Lexi. The next book I have is Wait Till Helen Comes by Mary Downingham. I actually found this in one of those like leave a book, take a book, like local library things. So I didn't pay anything for it. I just saw it in there and I was like, oh yes, I love that book. This is a book that I read in like elementary school. I think I was in like 5th grade or something. And it's about this family that move into this house. I think that they're like a blended family. I think there's like stepsisters. And so there's an older sister and a younger sister. And the younger sister is like really bratty, I guess, to the older sister. And she's like, oh, you wait, Helen's gonna come and she's gonna do all these bad things. And Helen was like her imaginary friend. But Helen actually turns out to be a ghost. And it's super spooky, and I remember reading it as a kid and eating ice out of cup. I don't know why, but like there's a scene where they were like in a rainstorm and it was super cold and like they were freezing and whatnot, and I was eating ice, so I just felt so cold when I was reading that. I don't know why I remember that scene. It's just a book that I read when I was a kid and I probably won't ever read again. I don't know. The next book I have is Number the Stars by Lois Lowry. This is another book I read as a kid, but I recently reread it because like I bought it so I could read it, but I know I probably won't read it again because I've already read it like last year. But this is the story of a girl named Anne-Marie. So Anne-Marie's friend is Jewish and so they hide her Jewish friends, and this is all during like World War II when the Nazis were kind of taking people to concentration camps and stuff. And I know Anne-Marie's given like this task that she has to do for like her family who's in like the underground kind of helping Jews escape, hide type thing. I don't know what I'm saying. It was a book that I read when I was younger, and I bought it because I wanted to reread it. But now Lexi's getting it. The next book I have here is Educated by Tara Westover. Boy, do I have some thoughts about this. So, going into my freshman year of college, like on orientation day, they had a bunch of copies of this book, and they were like, we recommend that you read this book before you start college. And so because they said that, I was like, oh yes, this is a book, and it's going to prepare me for college, and it's going to talk about classes, and how to live in a dorm, and how to like get to classes, and how to sign up for stuff, and like all that stuff that you need to know before going to college. And it did not do any of that, and I was really mad about it. Basically, this is a story of Tara, whose family is actually kind of crazy. They're very, like, off-the-grid type people. She literally only went to school until, like, 3rd grade or something. And, like, they're just, like, a really crazy type of family. And so it's, like, more about her family than it is about her education, which I really don't like because it's called Educated. It's not really about her education. False advertising. Eventually, she does escape her crazy family and go to college and become educated. And so, like, that is a main part of the book, don't get me wrong, but, like, you have to get, like, halfway through the book before she even goes to college. And even then, when she's in college, it's not very detailed. It's just very vague about her college experience. And I just did not like that. But I don't think that I think that I didn't like it because I was expecting it to be about college and not about her life. I think it's still an interesting book, and it's a memoir, so it was real, and it's just like very interesting that it happened that her life happened that way, but like it wasn't what I was expecting, so I was disappointed. So that's unfortunate. And also, if you can't tell, it's annotated because there was like a book club or something at my college that they were gonna like talk about the book like in the first week of school or whatever. I didn't actually go. I probably should have. But I annotated it because I was, like, so excited and ready to, like, talk at the book club. I don't know. I never did, though. But this one's also going to Lexi, so I'm not going to take all the tabs out because she wants to see my annotations.
So it wasn't required to read?
No, it was just like, you should read this. It's good for you. It's good for your soul. Next I have I Love My Love by Raina Biddy. This is a poetry book that I bought, like, last year or sometime. And I have read it. I think I gave it like 3.5 stars or something like that. And honestly, I'm not really a huge fan of poetry. I have 3 poetry books, including this one, and I literally like don't remember anything as soon as I put the book down. Like, poetry just doesn't stick in my head that well. So I thought that of the 3 books, this is the one that I didn't like the most, and I thought that I don't need it. Like, I'm not gonna reread it. I don't need it on my shelves. I don't have any emotional attachment to it. But Lexi is going to take it because she is interested in reading it.
Yes,
Mostly because you like the cover. The last book I have here is Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. This is a book that I had to read for a class that I took last semester called Autobiographical Reading and Writing. And this is a memoir about a girl named Marjane, obviously. Basically, it's the story about Marjane growing up during the Islamic Revolution, like her life during this like crazy war, and it was actually a really good memoir, and it's a graphic memoir, so like it's an easy read too. It literally did not take me that long at all. And there is a second book, and I haven't read it, and I honestly kind of want to. It kind of like left off on a cliffhanger, so I was like, ooh, I should read the second one. But this is a book that I had to have for school. So I feel like because I had to have it for school, I'm like, I don't want it. School, you know? I don't know. It was pretty good, but I don't think I'll ever read it again. So it should go to a new owner, and that owner is Lexi.
Once again.
So that is it for all the books that I'm going to be unhauling. Hope you all enjoyed it, and if you liked it, please make sure you are subscribed down below. And if you want to follow me on social media, all my links are in the description box down below as always. But that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video.